Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel named Inside Angle and this series named The Final Battle. So as mentioned in the last video, I am going to cover the most common mistakes that people make which lead them to failure, and those mistakes that you need to avoid making and steps that you need to take in the last 30-35 days before the exam so as to ensure you avoid making those mistakes in the exam. So in the last video, I had mentioned that the most common mistake that people tend to make is not being able to attempt 100 marks of paper. And the reason I had pointed out in the last video was lack of speed or maybe lack of writing practice. And what to do for that, I had already mentioned in the previous video. But there's one more reason why people are not able to attempt 100 marks of video. In fact, two more reasons, and I'll cover both in this video itself. So the two reasons are, one, the sequence of the questions that you attempt, and in fact, more importantly, the choice of questions that you attempt. So I'll give you an example of my FR paper, and I have actually covered this in one of the previous videos as well, but I'll still go ahead and reiterate as to how this really matters. So in our FR paper, that is July 2021 FR paper, basically if you go and see the paper, obviously question 1 is compulsory, and then you have a choice between the remaining 5 questions. Any 4 question is what you need to attempt. So there was this question 6 which contained 4 5-marker questions. But to me, in my understanding, each of those 5 markers were probably 8 markers. मतलब 8 mark जितने बड़े थे, but 5 mark में पूछ लिया था. Which means if I would go on to attempt those questions, it will probably take me more time than it should take me to attempt a 5 marker. Henceforth, even though those questions were easy, I decided to not attempt question 6 because that will probably eat up more time, and I will accordingly not be able to attempt the entire 100 marks of paper. And I decided to attempt the other 4 questions. Now talking about the sequence of questions. Now obviously FR paper इतना बड़ा है कि आप question 6 ना भी attempt करो, even if you attempt the other questions, even then there's a full chance कि आपका paper छूटे, and that kind of was about to happen with me as well. So basically what I did was I attempted question number 2 towards the end. Now question number 2 क्या था? Question number 2 was analysis of financial statement का एक question था, and then there was this question around Ind AS 115. Ind AS 115 का जो क्वेश्चन था उसमें you were just supposed to allocate the transaction price and give the reason for allocation of transaction price in each of the scenario. Similarly, analysis of financial statement में जो भी गलतियां थी आपको करेक्ट करनी है, and you needed to just point out what are the mistakes and you need to correct it. Now the thing about both of these questions is, if you see, they were slightly theoretical in nature, in the sense that you have to explain what is a wrong treatment oblique what is a correct treatment in case of 115. Now with questions like these, that is not just in FR, in other subjects also, जैसे DT में भी theory questions होते हैं. With the questions like these जहाँ पे theory element involved होता है, it is really upon you. You can really cut short the explanation into let's say 2 line versus a 7 line if you have time. मतलब मेरे को आधा content 7 line जितना है, लेकिन I don't have time to write those 7 lines, so I can cut it to 2 lines. Versus अगर मेरे पास time होता तो मैं 7 line लिख देता. मेरे 7 लाइन का 2 लाइन पे कट करने के लिए obviously I will lose marks, and that happened with me as well. So that was a 20 marker question, very easy in my viewpoint, but I just happened to score 13 out of them, which means 7 marks I lost in that one question itself, and I actually happened to score 86. मतलब मेरे बाकी 4 क्वेश्चन में टोटल मिला के 7 मार्क गए थे, वर्सेस इस एक क्वेश्चन में ही सीधा 7 मार्क चले गए. लेकिन मेरा पूरा एक क्वेश्चन छूट जाता अगर मैं क्वेश्चन 6 अटेम्प्ट करता. So instead of losing 20 marks, I left just 7 marks because मैंने इस तरह से explanation को curtail कर लिया था. So basically 2-3 learnings that I want to give you, and again going back to my first video, probably this you will be able to learn only if you do some writing practice. आपको paper solve करके idea आ जाएगा in a simulated environment. अरे मैं exam environment में होता तो मैं कौन से questions की choice करता. So I will suggest choose those questions which you know. So obviously first of all, अगर आपको ये क्वेश्चन नहीं आता है तो फिर तो obviously needless to say आप उसको छोड़ के बाकी सारे अटेम्प्ट करोगे. फिर चाहे वो क्वेश्चन 2 अगर आपको नहीं आता तो obviously you'll have to attempt question 6, goes without saying. But in a scenario where आपको सारे क्वेश्चंस आते हैं, attempt those questions which you know you will be able to attempt 100 marks. And if you're still confused between 2 questions, then decide which is the question which will be able to give you more marks. For example, let's say I am confused between question 2 जो एक 20 मार्कर सिंगल क्वेश्चन है वर्सेस क्वेश्चन 4 इज 10 मार्क्स के 2 क्वेश्चंस. देन आई विल सी कि मेरे को क्वेश्चन 2 आता है लेकिन आधा आता है, व्हिच मींस आई नो इफ आई एम टू अटेम्प्ट क्वेश्चन 2 आई विल स्कोर जस्ट 10 मार्क्स आउट ऑफ 20 मार्क्स. क्वेश्चन 4 ए मेरे को पूरा आता है वर्सेस 4 बी मेरे को आता ही नहीं. सो 4 ए आई नो आई विल स्कोर 10, 4 बी आई विल नॉट स्कोर एट ऑल. If I were you, I would have scored question 4. I would have wrote question 4 and not question 2. I would have attempted question 4 because मैं 4A एटलीस्ट पूरा एंड टू एंड अच्छे से अटेम्प्ट करूंगा. आई नो आई विल गेट 10 मार्क्स. एंड वैसे भी मेरा पेपर छूट रहा है, क्वेश्चन 4 भी छूट भी है तो प्रॉब्लम भी नहीं. बट अगर क्वेश्चन 2 में अटेम्प्ट करता हूँ तो हो सकता है इसकी गारंटी नहीं है कि मैं पूरा क्वेश्चन अटेम्प्ट भी करता हूँ एट द फर्स्ट प्लेस. तो मैं जो सोच रहा हूँ 10 मार्क्स मिलेंगे वो भी तब भी मिलेंगे अगर मैं पूरा अटेम्प्ट कर पाऊँ. So I would rather, if I'm indifferent, I would rather choose a question 4A, attempting towards, so I will attempt question 4 towards the last. उसमें क्वेश्चन 4 अच्छे से अटेम्प्ट कर लिया. If I get 5-10 minutes, I will probably start writing question 4 भी ताकि एक आध मार्क मिल जाए. If not, even if question 4 attempt कर लिया, I will be satisfied versus attempting a half question 2. Henceforth, first of all, choose those questions जो आपको आते हैं. Now, if you know all the questions, then choose those questions which you know will fetch you more marks, plus you'll be able to attempt in the 3 hours. So, जो मैंने ये question 2 versus question 4 का indifference बताया. अगर time में भी indifference है, then obviously marks देखो. Marks में indifference है तो time देखो. अगर दोनों साथ में आ जा रहा है तो ये क्वेश्चन 2 क्वेश्चन 4 वाला आप हाइपोथेसिस एनालॉजी दिमाग में रखो. एंड इन टर्म्स ऑफ द सीक्वेंस ऑफ क्वेश्चंस, लाइक आई सेड, जो थियरी वाला है वो थोड़ा मैंने टुवर्ड्स द एंड कर दिया. इन क्वेश्चंस लाइक कंसोलिडेशन और अमालगमेशन, आई वुड रियली प्रिफर अटेम्प्टिंग नॉट एट द लास्ट, बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली लास्ट में अटेम्प्ट करोगे तो आप गलतियां भी ज्यादा करोगे प्लस छूटेगा भी, बट नॉट इवन द फर्स्ट, बिकॉज फर्स्ट करने में काफी टाइम चले जाता है एंड देन यू गेट पैनिकी टुवर्ड्स द latter half. So I will suggest really attempting it as the second last question, or if you've managed good speed in the first questions, then उसके बाद third question आप consolidation amalgamation ले सकते हो. So either attempt it at the third or the fourth position, and I'm giving just FR का example. This applies to all the subjects. So for any very long sum or question, try doing the same approach. Attempt it between 3 and 4, unless you are very underconfident, जिस केस में आप last में attempt करो. If you are reasonably confident, attempt it at the third or the fourth position. Fifth position should be for a question which is theoretical in nature, so that you can increase your speed. And the first and the second question should obviously, without doubt, be those questions wherein you are most confident. And secondly, it should be those questions which you know you can attempt in a reasonable speed. मतलब ऐसा नहीं बोलूँ आप बहुत fast attempt कर पाओगे, but at least at a good speed. It should not be a question like consolidation amalgamation which eats up, let's say, an hour of your time just for that once. So that is it for that is it from me on tips to avoid missing out on attempting 100 marks of paper. So consolidating learnings from the previous video and this one. Number 1, do enough writing practice to know your writing speed and to get hands-on writing ताकि आपका हाथ बैठ जाए. Second, know which questions you should attempt. Be very mindful. Like for example, जो मैंने बोला question 6 ना attempt करके 2 to 5 attempt किया था मेरे FR के पेपर में. You can go and have a look at the July 21 FR paper. And the third, be very careful in the sequence of questions that you are attempting. So I think these are the 3 learnings. You can go have a look at my FR copy also. I've shared it on my Telegram channel. I'll put the link of the Telegram channel in the description of this video. And May 21 FR paper, the suggested answers also, you can have a look. I think that will give you a good clarity on how you should go about it. So stay tuned for the next video wherein I'll talk about more such mistakes which you need to avoid and how can you tackle, how can you make sure you avoid making those mistakes. Having said that, all the best. Do share this video with your friends and help them avoid those mistakes as well. Thank you.